so 4 years ago, Quintic was acquired by Dassault Systèmes. So what I hope in the next half hour is I'm going to be able to explain to you kind of where we fit and what Dassault Systèmes is all about. And Dassault Systèmes is the 10th largest software company in the world. As Jeroen mentioned this morning, 19,000 employees, revenues of 5 billion. So we're big. And we do a lot of different things. So because of that, we're split up into groups like most large companies are. And I want to talk to you today particularly about what we do in DELMIA. So you all know probably that we've been rebranded as DELMIA Quintic or DELMIA Quintic, whichever you prefer. So I want to talk through that today. So who are we? Well, there's our mission statement. You're all reading it, which is really good, because I'm going to actually explain to you what it means. It's a beautiful piece of corporate speak, but let's try and understand what it's about. Bernard Charles is a CEO. He's been the CEO for 17 or 18 years now, and he tells it very simply. We have one purpose in life in this company, and that is to change the world, except that he's serious. And the way that we change the world, and the way we have changed the world so far, is we use the concept of virtual before physical. So we believe, and it's in our DNA, and it's always been in Quintic's DNA, that if you model the real world accurately and do things and work out all the issues before you actually turn into a physical world, you can save a lot of time, energy, effort, and do a better job. Now, the thing about this company is it's not just about manufacturing, it's not just about logistics. We do it in healthcare, hence the bit about product, nature, and life. We do it in healthcare, we do it in all sorts of industries. We do it in cities, we model entire cities trying to help with urban planning. We do it for railway systems. So we're kind of all over the map, as it were. Now, the second thing you'll notice there is you get to the second line, and there's this thing called 3D experience. Universes, what on earth is that? Well, the second thing that this company believes in is, and we've seen a couple today of block diagrams from different presenters saying, yeah, we've got macro planner and we've got this and we've got that. Well, guess what? We're people. We don't respond to that stuff. We don't use products in that way. We don't use software in that way, right? Remember the days when you'd log into an airline site and you'd book your airline ticket, and then you'd log into a hotel site, you do that, and then you log into a car site, you do that. 3 different experiences is really boring. Now what happens, of course, is you go onto your airline site and all the cars and the hotels are built in. Simply a better experience. Because the role I'm playing the role of a customer who wants to go somewhere. And we're converting all our software into role-based software so that the products become seamless and disappear into the background, and the only thing that matters is the experience of the person who's actually doing it. Now, it might sound crazy, but we actually sell roles. We don't sell products anymore. We sell roles. So if you're a demand planner, we'll sell you a role because you need to understand what's coming in from the PLM system. And that needs to be seamlessly integrated right through to the end of your task. So that's what we mean by 3D experience, universes. And those experiences have to be underpinned by a common platform, which just happens to be called the 3D experience platform, which is a complete common data model right across all of our products from the beginning of our design products to the end of our customer service products. And of course, Quintic is somewhere in the middle there. But that is the principle and the vision of where we are and where we're going. Now, if you bring that down to DELMIA, you heard this morning, model, optimize, perform, and collaborate. And I'm going to leave collaborate to the last. But what this means is, and I'll use the manufacturing example, but it plays well in the other industries as well. Before I build an asset to do something, such as a factory or a production line, if I can model that, if I can model the plant layout, if I can model the processes, if I can simulate the people doing their jobs and the machines operating, the robots going up and down, and the NC machines all operating, if I can simulate the ergonomics of the people, and every time that we have this action here, oops, that's going to be elbow strain, we can't do that. And then I can simulate training with a virtual reality machine which allows a person to be completely trained before they even get there. Remember how they do airline pilots. It's exactly how they do airline pilots. Right? If I can do that, I make less errors. When I go and build it, I've already figured out a lot of the problems that we usually find in commissioning. Well, oh, these two benches are too close together, somebody's going to knock their knee. Now, certainly in my manufacturing life, I've seen major commissioning plants And the amount of waste in terms of time, effort, and money and material is astonishing, because it's really hard, if you go back to the two-dimensional drawings, to get those things right. So that's what we need when we talk about model. Great. Go and build the factory. Okay, so we've built the factory. Next thing we need to do is we need to plan it. Welcome to Quintic. So we've built the factory, we get the demand, we model the supply chain, which is what all of you do who use Quintic products. Right? It's a two-dimensional representation, because we actually don't need a three-dimensional representation. Okay, we've got our schedule. Now what do? We need to execute it, a la perform. Now, there's no reason why these shouldn't be a seamless set of activities, because that's exactly what manufacturers do. And by the way, logistics providers do it too. Right? I can model my warehouse, I can model a railway station, I can model any environment you want. I can model an airport so that I know the activities of the security guards, and I can work out exactly how long it takes them to get from gate A to gate B, right? Because there's more demand on that gate. So through my workforce planner system, even then I can use this modelling. So here's a challenging one. Rule 1, when you're doing a presentation, never ask the audience a question you don't know the answer to. But hands up those who thinks that all companies won't have a digital twin in their operation in 30 years. It was an easy one. Right? I didn't know what the answer was, but I think we all know it's going to happen. Because the benefit to ourselves as a society is absolutely massive. Now, this collaborate bit, what's this collaborate bit? Collaboration for us is a platform. It's a platform that combines both the applications that we sell and a raft of social applications, communities, dashboards, notifications of what's going on in the company, access to the outside world, project management tools, marketing tools, sales tools, all of that. And right now at Quintic, we're engaged in putting all of our solutions onto the platform that already exists for 3DS, and many of our products from 3DS are on that platform. But this allows you to get to the point where you have true collaboration. Because as our businesses become more complicated, we need that. The amount of time that's lost because of people trying to communicate together. Right? So the ability to do this and have a platform that underpins it, a common data model underneath that, where all of the applications can talk to each other, that's what we're about. And that's why we believe that we'll be able to influence and make significant changes to the world we live in. Just very quickly, what happened and how did we get here and why? Well, on the left-hand side, you see a whole lot of names for which we made acquisitions back in the 2000s. That is now DELMIA. So it's a whole lot of bits and pieces. They acquired the 3D technologies, they acquired MES systems, all sorts of bits and pieces that you need to do to create one of the most comprehensive manufacturing system, digital manufacturing systems out there. But they also realised that where they believed the market was going in around 2010, that's not enough. Because they would be dealing with large customers that would say, hang on, we need to be able to plan and schedule. We've built it, but we need to plan and schedule it. So basically, they embarked on looking for a planning company. Welcome to Quintic. And they went and found a company called Aprizo, who is the leader in execution. So if you go and have a look at the Gartner quadrants, you'll find that we're in the leadership quadrant in digital manufacturing, we're in the leadership quadrant in optimization, and we're in the leadership quadrant in execution. And we're pretty happy about the fact that no one else in the world can do that. So it does give our customers an opportunity to take advantage of this expanded set and really start to join the dots. And that's what this is all about, is making sure that you can join the dots, take away all of those horrible integrations, but more the process integration, the people integration, than just the technical integration. Now, why are we doing it? Well, 250 years ago was the Industrial Revolution. And no one who went through the Industrial Revolution realised they were in the middle of the Industrial Revolution. And you are in the middle of the next revolution. Right? Uber, classic example, just completely disruptive. So technology is enabled entrepreneurs. It's a combination, it's not just the technology. It's the technology and the entrepreneurial skills to think, wow, what if I could, hang on, the technology is available. I can do that. That is why we're in the middle of what we call the industry renaissance. Right? There is a whole new world out there, and we're seeing the disruptors. But the other thing we're seeing is the big companies, the really big leadership companies like the Boeings of the world, the Airbuses, the BMWs of the world, they are transforming their businesses. And when we talk to them now, they say, why? We can't afford not to. We have to transform our businesses to become competitive, remain competitive. We have to be able to deal with the disruptors. And of course, most of them would like to be able to become disruptive themselves. And you saw Jerome's note on the disruption this morning. Everybody's being affected by disruption. So business transformation, and quite a lot of people have come up on the stage today and talked about the fact that really their business has been transformed because of the changes that something like a Quintic system brings in. And of course, so does the execution side, so does the design side, and so does the digital manufacturing or the digital representation of a warehouse. But what's going on in the world is this move from product-based, as I talked about, to experience-based. What if I'm a manufacturer and this particular part that I need, I can't get from my regular people? You have the access today to every single person in the world who might be able to help you out. That's what we mean. That is exactly what we mean by the value network. We stretch our arms a lot further than we used to. A restaurant business, for example, they talk to their suppliers, about packaging, they want to find out all the new suppliers that might be out there, who might be able to provide them goods. Because in the last 50 years ago, we just relied on the few people we knew, and we relied on the handshake and the relations. That's not good enough anymore. We want that access, and we need to make our value networks bigger because they can work for us. But to be able to do that, we need the technology to be able to support us. There is no doubt in the world, and I don't think anybody in this room would challenge it, lead times have to come down. The pace at which we, the consumer, are demanding new products, and we've become very demanding, right? Anybody here agree that Gen Y can be a little bit demanding at times? Any parents? Yeah. Gen Z, their expectation, they do everything with their mobile phones. They expect to be able to order something and get it in today or tomorrow, right? So lead times must drop. And the answer to that is we have to become this complete circle. So when you casually go onto a website and order something from this company or that company, that involves that company, it involves logistics providers, it may have to involve an alternative logistics provider. That's the new world we live in. And when you go outside, just have a look around you and think, what was going on 10 years ago? It's different. It is very, very different out there. Of course, as you drive up your driveway tonight and you see the robot that's mowing your lawn, just remember just how different it is. You know, as you go and do your washing and you actually program your washing machine with your iPad, just remember how different it is. Right? And in your manufacturing or your logistics roles, remember that connectivity and remember how complex it's become, and the more complex it becomes, the harder it becomes. So you need to be able to connect. And that's what the value network's all about. Now, one of the things we believe, and there is a sustainability session going on next door, but I didn't want you to miss out. What is sustainability? Well, the first thing it is not, that's for the greenies. Okay, we're talking real sustainability here. And all of you know that if you have a favourite supplier of something or another, and all of a sudden they go out of business, that is a tremendous inconvenience to you. Doesn't matter whether it's your dentist, it's just an inconvenience. So, profit. To be profitable is sustainable. We want people to be healthily profitable. Ethically profitable would be our choice, but we want profitable companies so that they don't constantly, the amount of effort, if a company goes down and has to be replaced by another, for both us and for the company, that's just wasted human endeavour. People. So, we had the examples, there were a couple of examples this morning, I think, given where people are getting the advantages. And there's two types. One is the planner. I've never walked into a company with a sales and operations planning process where the people didn't dread the first day of S&OP because they knew they had 10 p.m. nights for the next 7 weeks, 7 days, and then things would drop back to normal and they'd wait for the next one. So we need to look after our people better, and I think it was Ravi referred to that this morning. You know, he went from 37 people to 24, but they're actually happy within their jobs. And he doesn't get the turnover. He told us that the absenteeism has dropped. So we need to not only look after the people who are doing the planning, but we need to look after the people who are being planned. So we need to consider their preferences. We need to be able to consider the fact that Jenny has just been told by a doctor that she's got to attend a hospital every morning for the next 6 weeks. She doesn't want to fight with her boss about that. She wants the flexibility there to be able to do it. The average woman in the Netherlands works 29 hours a week. Right? There's a lot of flexibility in that particular labour market. Right? And companies are adapting to that. And they're saying, yeah, that's fine, we can adapt to that. Because if you're happy, then I retain you. And that's very valuable to me. And of course, the third part is the no-brainer part of sustainability. And that part of sustainability we should all recognise. Producing waste of any type, whether it be time, material, anything. It's just not smart. Right? We have a limited world at the end of the day. What we should do is try and do everything first time right so we save the resources. The other thing, of course, that feeds straight back into profitability. So it's good all round. We can't be on a loser with that one. Now, so a little bit more about this model optimise perform. So there's your example of a plant, right, represented. This is our software, okay? We can model that bottle, which is just, by the way, we've just made the bottle a little bit thinner. Okay, we've stripped out a bit more plastic, but we need to know whether that bottle is capable of getting through that machine. And that's what the software does. It allows you to simulate the performance of what happens in a manufacturing environment or a warehouse or an airport. We can simulate people walking around, as you'll see in a minute. In the middle, I've got good old logistics planner, which of course is the optimised piece. So whether it be manufacturing optimisation, which was talked about in the last 2 sessions, or whether it be logistics, right? We're optimising. What's good about optimisation? It's the only technology available today that can give you the best solution. That's the one thing that a lot of people miss out on. Optimisation is the only technology that can give you the best solution. Any heuristic in the world will get you part way there and it'll all be good, but you'll never know how much you missed out on. You'll never know. If you're using Excel or you're using a solution that uses heuristics, you'll never know the gap. And that's why the people in this room have chosen optimisation, because their CEOs want the best. And on the third, of course, is perform. You want to make it so the person on the factory floor is doing their job perfectly. Not just recording the number of things that they made against this particular job, but all of the activities they do are supported by execution so that we can get it first time right. So here's a simple example. On the left-hand side, we have a photograph of a factory. On the right-hand side, we have the digital twin. Right? So we take a big camera that's mounted on a trolley and we wander around and we take zillions of data points and we actually construct this, the starting point for a plant layout. And then we work out all the processes that are done, every single process involved in making whatever it is that we make. And we map those processes onto the plant layout and we map down the resources. And then we simulate them. So we simulate people walking around the factory, we simulate the machines operating, we simulate all of the activities. Then we look at the ergonomics. We look at the robots. Right? We can work out all of the robot movements and then press a button and download the machines into the robot. We can do the same with NC machines. We do the same with virtual commissioning. We look at where the buttons should be placed. Where should the emergency stop button be? Right? Many of you would have noticed over the last few years that the emergency stop button on a conveyor in an airport where your baggage is now actually reachable. It's up there, it's not down there anymore, because that's a really bad place for it because nobody knows about it. Yeah, very simple stuff. This, I just like this. I hope you like this. Why not apply this technology to building a building? Why not turn building a building into a manufacturing exercise? So, on the left-hand side, we have a model. On the right-hand side, we have a building. How does it work? Like that. Every single phase of the construction of that physical building was done in software first. Value? 30% reduction time in the build, 20% material less. Right? Unbelievable saving. Every truck arrival was modelled in the software. Every movement was arrival. They moved the truck station arrival a bit closer because you could work out the optimal path for the people moving things off and make it shorter. A great example of the use of the technology. And here, of course, we have a training station. So the person is actually got a virtual reality headset on, and they're doing all their training in exactly the same way that an airline pilot goes into a simulator. And remember, they used to get into an aeroplane, burn a whole lot of fuel. You have to have a spare aeroplane. I remember Concorde had one of the 14 Concordes was devoted to training. What a cost. What a cost. Now we do it all in simulators. And we do exactly the same thing here. This person can be effective on day one. Now, I've got a couple of little videos for you to watch and just see some of this stuff in action.
Aujourd'hui, on cherche à déployer les solutions de réalité augmentée au sein de l'atelier, avant tout pour faciliter le travail de l'opérateur. On peut avoir des tâches assez complexes, impliquant de nombreuses références et de nombreuses localisations. L'avantage principal pour l'opérateur, c'est de s'affranchir des tâches fastidieuses en amont, de marquage, de localisation, et se concentrer directement sur la tâche à valeur ajoutée, à savoir poser la bonne fixation au bon endroit.
Eh bien avant, on était obligé de prendre un plan à la main donc, et tout tracer, soit à la craie, directement sur la voilure. D'où l'erreur qu'on pouvait avoir, on pouvait se tromper. Hein. Voilà. Et grâce à ça, maintenant, là, directement, on sait exactement où vont les épingles. Il n'y a plus lieu d'avoir d'être, enfin de se tromper. Eh bien, cet outil, c'est l'avenir et ça nous permet donc de visualiser plein de choses sur la voilure et ça nous facilite les choses.
Chez Diota, nous nous efforçons à proposer des solutions qui sont fortement industrialisées, en ce sens qu'elles ont été testées et éprouvées chez bon nombre de nos clients, qu'elles sont actuellement déployées sur des cas d'usage et utilisées en production. Et ce qu'on entend par industrialisé, c'est également le fait qu'elles soient facilement déployables dans le contexte industriel, à la fois parce que nos solutions sont dites sans marqueur, markerless, en ce sens qu'elles ne nécessitent pas d'instrumenter l'environnement avec des caméras ou des marqueurs additionnels, mais aussi puisque nous proposons des outils qui s'intègrent directement dans les systèmes d'information, dans le PLM de nos clients et qui leur permettent de créer en totale autonomie des fiches d'instruction sans avoir à nécessiter les services de Diota. Et puis enfin, nous nous efforçons de proposer des solutions particulièrement ergonomiques qui sont intuitives, c'est-à-dire qui ne nécessitent pas ou très peu d'apprentissage et pour lesquelles la prise en main par les opérateurs et par les compagnons est quasiment immédiate.
Nous envisageons de déployer la réalité augmentée pour de nombreuses applications où la solution nous paraît pertinente.
It's kind of like building something with IKEA on steroids, but you get the idea, yeah? So what about the chemical industry? Not a good industry to make mistakes in.
10 years after the initial rollout, L'Oréal continues to expand its implementation of DELMIA Apriso for manufacturing operations. Let's have a look at the L'Oréal plant in Settimo, near Turin in Italy.
DELMIA Apriso è una soluzione che consente di avere una piattaforma flessibile che si adatta ai bisogni dello stabilimento. Noi possiamo gestire e monitorare tutte le attività industriali con una soluzione che consente di ottimizzare la qualità e la tracciabilità dei nostri prodotti. Sulla qualità abbiamo migliorato i risultati dei buoni del primo colpo dal 93 al 94,4% e sulla tracciabilità abbiamo migliorato la velocità di tracciabilità di circa 10 volte rispetto a prima. Le informazioni sono disponibili in tempo reale e visibili a tutta l'organizzazione. Questo ci consente di reagire velocemente con dati consistenti ad ogni livello. DELMIA Apriso è facile da utilizzare per tutti gli operatori, facilitando la presa di decisione e tutte le operazioni sul terreno. Chiaramente la soluzione DELMIA Apriso a noi e ai nostri clienti ci ha portato del valore aggiunto. Sostanzialmente abbiamo migliorato la nostra agilità.
The process begins at the receiving area, where goods come in and are tracked by Apriso throughout the whole plant. After an administrative reception, labels for each received container are printed by Apriso. The quality operator performs a number of verifications on the received container. He verifies the printed label against the supplier delivery note and checks the stock entry. He then sticks the label to the container, takes samples for the lab, and identifies them with Apriso labels. Goods are prepared to be stored in the warehouse.
So you sort of get the idea. trying to do things first time right, trying to make sure that we're sustainable. So one of the solutions that we have put into the marketplace is Quintic and Aprizo together, right? Planning and scheduling with the execution feedback to make sure that that then goes to a closed loop. So everything comes back from the Aprizo solution back into your scheduling solution. And obviously that gives you the opportunity to improve over time. So where this goes to, and of course I'm going to test you on this slide when we leave, collaborate, model, optimize, perform. So a complete set of solutions in each of these spaces. So I talked about modeling. That's all the components to the modeling solution, so it's very rich. Most of you will recognize these. So this is Quintic's capabilities, of course, is the ability to optimize manufacturing, logistics, and workforce. And using the Aprizo solution, we can also have a complete set of execution capabilities. Now, anybody in this room who's in logistics and workforce might think that they're being left out. And it is true. DELMIA started purely as a manufacturing company. But one of the reasons they acquired Quintic was they wanted to get into the other markets. They wanted to get into logistics. They wanted to get into workforce. So we actually have solutions currently mapped out for all four. And we are developing solutions, particularly around things like rail and logistics, in what is digital manufacturing. And of course, we're now arguing that we can't call it digital manufacturing anymore. But we have the capability in all those areas to do all three of these. And finally, as we get towards the finish, one of the questions that I like to ask a customer if I'm going to see a customer the first time is, what are you doing? Are you trying to automate what you're already doing and you just want Quintic to replace your spreadsheets? Or you're actually transforming your business? And I wish we had that as a standard sales question for every single engagement. Because if the answer is you're transforming your business, then we should go down that road. If the answer is you're just trying to automate your business, we definitely should be going down this road. Because change management on this side is going to be a whole lot better. But it also means that the goals you're setting are going to be a whole lot greater and a greater impact for your, greater opportunity and a greater value. And sometimes I think as both Quintic and the customers are not sure, maybe they're somewhere in the middle, but they haven't sorted out, am I doing transformation or am I actually just trying to automate this thing? Because quite often the operators and the planners think you're just trying to automate, whereas the managers quite often hope that you're doing business transformation. If you're only automating, you're on the bottom left. Right? So yep, you'll get productivity improvement, you'll get value, there's no question about it. But as you move up the curve, the wider the scope of the sorts of things I've talked to you about today become, you get into that truly transformational thing. What sort of company are you working for right now? Is your company in transformation right now? Is your CEO backing the fact that you need to change significantly? Or are you just nibbling around the edges at certain things? And different companies will take different approaches. We saw the approach with the previous speaker. 2015 to 29, and that was a transformation. No question that was a transformation. And the thing to do is, if you are doing transformation, start now. Don't sit back and try and figure out the big picture. We know a lot of customers who've tried that and it doesn't work. You've got to work out what your goals are and then start somewhere. Because if you don't start somewhere, you'll be sitting there in 5 years still with a stack of strategic documents, still wondering what to do. And if you want to go on that transformational journey, then please come and talk to us. Thank you very much.